Hello there. Today's Thursday, the 7th of May, 2026. Welcome to Good Afternoon Ghana here on Metro TV. Welcome to live from our studios here at North Region Accra. I am Desmond Okreku. That's when it's a pleasure always coming your way on this program. And we're until 2 p.m. where we're discussing pertinent issues that concern you. And so that is why you need to stay with us till the very end. We're streaming live across all our social media platforms on YouTube, Metro TV Ghana, on Facebook, Metro TV Ghana, also on DSTV channel 277. You can join us live on there. And also on the radio, 94.1 FM. Coming up on the show today, we're talking about a very important thing. To everybody, it is important. We're talking about rent. The rent situation in the country is one that has come up a lot of times, talking about the exorbitant prices, how landlords at their own will increase rent prices and all of that, and the effect it's having on tenants, the strenuous financial burden that it brings to tenants. We're talking about that today. But worst of is if you're a student or you're a parent who's taking your child to school, to the university, and the child needs to find a place to stay, and in this case it's going to be a hostel facility. Well, the Rent Control Commission is cracking down on some of these landlords of these hostels, or managers of these hostels, who are increasing prices of the hostels. And yes, we'll talk about that today. Very, very important one. But we would also want to hear from you. So later on the show, we'll open the phone line so that you can call in and share your thoughts with us here on the show. It's going to be quite a very, very important conversation today. So do want to stay with us here on Good Afternoon Ghana. For now, we're going to do the news update, and Helen Anyeweja is standing by to bring us the latest news updates. Hello, Helen. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing this morning?
I'm okay. Just that we're talking about rent is very important.
Right.
We talk about that. We've all been students before, and we've all paid rent, as hostel fees, and sometimes it's crazy. So I'm excited about today's conversation, right? So take us away with the updates.
Okay, this is where we start the news updates here on Good Afternoon Ghana. My name is Helen Anyeweja. Coming up this afternoon. Thank you very much for keeping us company. Now, family of late Charles Emisa, the hit and run victim, welcomes investigative committee's report recommending sanctions to medical officers at the 3 health facilities where he was denied treatment. Also coming up this afternoon, Ghana petitions African Union to place the recurring xenophobic attacks against African nationals in South Africa on the agenda of the AU's upcoming mid-year coordination meeting in Egypt. Later on Good Afternoon Ghana, we discuss exorbitant rent charges and what they can be done to give tenants some respite. This and more coming up now. Do stay with us. Appreciate your time this afternoon. My name again is Helen Anyeweja, and we start from here. The committee that investigated the death of Charles Emisa, an engineer with Pro Macedo Company, has concluded that he died as a result of neglect by the health officials who were on duty on the health facilities where he was taken to after the accident. A report was presented to the Minister of Health, Kwabena Mensah Kando, on May 6. Here are the recommendations. Ms. Akosia B. Texan should be referred to GARH and NMC for disciplinary action against her for breach of professional duty to Charles Emisa. Also, Ms. Joy Daisy Nelson should be referred to KBTH and NMC for disciplinary action against her for breach of professional duty to Charles Emisa. Also, Ms. Salamatu Alasan Edu should be referred to KBTH and NMC for disciplinary action against her for breach of professional duty to Charles Emisa. Now, expedite action on the establishment of a national electronic emergency bed management system. Also, take steps to fully integrate the Ghana Armed Forces Critical Care and Emergency Hospital to the National Emergency and Critical Care System. Also ensure compulsory triaging of all patients brought to healthcare facilities in a state of emergency across the country. Establish a National Emergency Care Fund to enable emergency care for the first 24 hours in public and private healthcare facilities across the country. Also expedite action on legislation for public and private healthcare facilities to prioritize life-threatening cases and ensure stabilizing interventions for patients in need of emergency care across the country. Also ensure basic life supports and advanced cardiac life support training for health workers, people, students, and the general public. Also establish a national governance and management system for emergency care to ensure implementation of all game-changing interventions in public and private healthcare facilities across the country. Now, CEO of Financial Intelligence Center, Kwejochu Wafo, has called on stakeholders to tackle procurement issues and improve the working condition of health workers while advising that a different approach to healthcare delivery be considered. This follows a recent surge in no-bed syndrome. NPP General Secretary Hopeful Henry Kwabena Kokofu sympathized with affected individuals while describing no-bed syndrome as a systematic failure. They both spoke on Good Morning Ghana.
I have a radical solution to this, but it's not so radical. Let's begin them by paying them better. Let's begin by increasing the conditions, improving the conditions under which they work. But they are overwhelmed. So the no-bed syndrome has very little to do with a doctor not wanting to take care of a patient. It's just that the complete apparatus system that he needs or they need to take care of the patient doesn't exist. So let's begin to tackle procurement in the medical sector.
It's quite tragic, you know, and I must, at this point, express my sympathy to the family. The departed soul, may his soul rest in peace. This is a situation which calls for serious public debate. We must understand that life once lost cannot be retrieved. We can punish people, we can do whatever it is. These are precious lives that these deaths are preventable, and so we must be able to do whatever we can in order not to let it occur. It's an awakening call for all of us. If there are no beds, why don't we provide enough beds for our hospitals? If that is a cause, there are no beds, why can't we provide beds? We are living in our homes, in our mansions, and we have spare beds in spare rooms all over. At this point, it's a systemic failure.
On the persistent no-bed syndrome within our healthcare system, the 3 members committee set up to probe the death of the passing of Charles Emisa has been taken into consideration, and we'll be talking to someone on the phone to find out his thoughts. So the findings has been revealed, and that critical failures in emergency. Okay, so we have someone on the line. Let's talk to him. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to you.
Viewers.
Okay, so so there has been failures in the hospital, but to start with, what does emergency care entail?
Yeah, so thank you very much for the question. So emergency care actually entails the early stabilization and treatment of patients who are in critical condition or have suffered a condition that without early intervention may result in long-term damage or in some cases death. And so it is the first point for every patient that is involved in such a case.
What is the situation with providing emergency health care in our hospitals at the moment?
Yeah, so it's expected that every health facility will have an emergency setup because it's one of the primary reasons that people will visit health facility or are taking to health facilities. And from the lowest to the highest level, what is happening in our system is that most of the lower level facilities are below the level of district hospital, the check compounds, the health centers, right, and then other clinics lack capacity to handle some of these basic emergencies. And so it is at the district level, regional level, as well as the teaching hospital level that usually you have these emergency setups for handling activities. And even if there are real issues in terms of challenges with the emergency setup, in terms of logistics, the health workers, they do not have adequate logistics and the necessary equipment in managing some of these emergencies. We also have some challenges with trained, specialized human resource, nurses, doctors, and other paramedics that are needed in these emergency setups. And then there's also a problem with bed availability in terms of space. And so sometimes, especially at the district level, their emergency departments are very small. And so admission of 3, 4, 5 patients, the place gets full. And then they need to be referred to other facilities or at the regional level, the hospital level. And because of that, we end up having our regional hospitals as well as our teaching hospital getting choked in terms of emergency departments. And that is what usually leads to the no-bed syndrome that we have.
So you've mentioned quite a number of things and with regards to logistics. Now, how are we still lacking behind in providing basic healthcare apart from the logistics that you have mentioned?
Yeah, so a major challenge that we have noticed is also the bed availability management in these emergency centers, especially at the regional hospital and then the teaching hospitals. Right. Typically, we expect that any patient that comes in with an emergency condition, within 24 hours, they should be stabilized and then being transferred to the other wards of the hospital for continuity of care so that they could free up bed space and resources also for other patients that will also require emergency treatment. What is happening is that in most of these big facilities, there are challenges with space also in the other parts of the hospital. So we have a situation where the patients have been admitted at the emergency ward, they've been stabilized, and they need to be moved out of the emergency rooms or centers to the wards to make room for new admissions that are coming in. And because the wards are full, because of challenges with, for instance, payment of bills, and then sometimes also procedures that are supposed to be done, they have not probably received them. And some patients also probably have been discharged, but they have not settled their bill. All these things will choke the beds that are in the other parts of the hospital. And so you cannot move the patient from the emergency center to these other ones, and then it gets choked. So that is one major issue that we need to deal with in terms of our emergency setup. And also, the lower level facilities, the regional hospital and some of the district hospitals do not have the required human resource who are specialized in taking care of emergencies beyond the basics. And so any relatively complex case is moved to the few teaching hospitals, and that also compounds the problem with emergency care. The other big issue that we have is also the fact that we don't have a dedicated funding for emergency situations. And so, for instance, when you have patients that are found maybe hit by maybe a vehicle, they at the moment we don't know their identity and they are brought to the hospital. The first 24, 48 hours, you expect that once they come in, money should not be a barrier in terms of provision of care. And yet, these people, we don't know them, don't have funding. And so, it's another challenge that sometimes happens at the hospitals. Who takes care of these patients that are coming in emergency situations that require some treatment? The hospitals some of them have their own internal policies that provide some support to them in terms of giving them treatment for the first 24 hours, awaiting for relatives to come in maybe the next day to support the treatment. And so that's also another gap that we think that must be addressed.
Okay, so you've mentioned quite a number of things, making us understand that the system has a lot to be done about. But now, the recommendation so far seems to be pinning everything on the doctors and on the system. Is that how you also feel?
Yeah, so it's an unfortunate situation, and we want to express our condolences to the family of dear brother who unfortunately died in such a manner. But I think that there are a lot more that we think as a country we need to also focus on. We also take notice that the reports captured some systemic issues and some recommendation of reform that ought to be done, some of which the Ghana Medical Association has already advocated in previous discussions and all that. We think that those systemic reforms are the ones that have the key to preventing the recurrence of such issues. And so attention in terms of media discussions, engagement, and then accountability should focus on those systemic reforms, because any one of us, including myself, is at risk of being a patient like what unfortunately our brother went through. And so we should all come together to make sure that we fix the systemic problems and reform our emergency setup so that everybody is guaranteed quality care when they have to call in such an emergency situation. And so I think we noticed that some of the health workers have been recommended for disciplinary actions, and we think that once people are found to have played a role in a way, that's also part of the accountability that you should look at. But the focus should not be on that alone, but most importantly on the bigger issues about how to reform the emergency setup. Because if the system is not right, no matter the kind of person that you put in the system will beat the person. And so we need to try and resolve that and make sure that the system produces the result that you and I are looking for. That is quality emergency health care without any barrier everywhere we find ourselves.
Okay, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. We will engage you in our subsequent bulletins for further talks. Thank you very much. That was Dr. Dan Anani Frimpong, and he is the Deputy General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association. Now, away from that, Ghana has formally petitioned the African Union to place the recurring xenophobic attacks against African nationals in South Africa on the agenda of the AU's upcoming mid-year coordination meeting in Egypt later this June. The request was contained in a May 6, 2026 letter signed by the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, and addressed to the chairperson of the African Union Commission in Addis Ababa.
According to the government, the issues should be treated as a matter of urgent continental concern during the AU meeting scheduled for June 24 to June 27 in Egypt. In the letter, Ghana expressed deep concern over the continued xenophobic attacks in South Africa, noting that the incidents have led to loss of lives, destruction of businesses and investments, and threats to the safety and well-being of African nationals living in the country. The petition said that the persistent attacks undermines the ideals of African solidarity, brotherhood, and unity promoted by the African Union and the broader Pan-African movement. The letter further argued that the attacks violate the African Charter on Human and People's Rights and contradicts the goals of African Continental Free Trade Area, which seeks to promote integration, free movement, and economic cooperation across the continent. As part of its proposals, Ghana has called on the AU to strengthen monitoring mechanisms to ensure member states comply with obligations under the AU Constitutive Act and the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. The Ghanaian government is also proposing the establishment of a fact-finding mission to investigate the root causes of xenophobic violence in South Africa and recommend measures to address the situation. Additionally, Ghana is advocating dialogue and reconciliation initiatives aimed at promoting tolerance, inclusion, and renewed commitment to continental unity among African people. The Foreign Affairs Ministry stressed that despite Africa's painful history of slavery, colonialism, and apartheid, the continent's future must be built on shared dignity, mutual respect, and collective prosperity.
Now, away from that, Dr. Julius Kata is an international economist, and he joins us for more on just this. Okay, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. How are you doing, please?
Very well. How about you?
I'm great.
Okay, now talk to us about the recent petition that has to do with the xenophobic attacks on the Ghanaians and other Africans living in South Africa.
Yeah, to start with, my greetings to the cherished listeners. The very important letter that the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, has written to intervene in the issue of the xenophobic attack is in the proper direction. Reason why it's in the proper direction is it's significant for compliance of international law. Setting clearly in the framework of African Union and then also continental economic integration. These are the areas where the letter has focused on. And it is not a good thing for us in Africa to experience such destructive attack, which will compel us to remember how slavery, how we've been approaching our Africa continent socio-economic and political administrative issues. The most important thing is that we have to know we are brothers and sisters in the continent, and we need to live in one harmony. And the UN Charter is clear on it. The International Convention for Civil and Political Rights is also clear on it. So we cannot be in Africa and condone such disturbances. It's not good and it's not acceptable. And I believe that in a prudent way, the Honorable Minister for Finance and the government of Ghana has taken the right decision to bring this matter to a clear understanding.
Okay, and do you feel, after this very letter, there will be any changes at all? Does it look like there's going to be a positive change after this?
Yes, I believe that if the rudiment of the matter, the conflict, is tackled from the right perspective, as it's being called now, the African Union Charter alignments will be used in discussing the issue very broadly, because this is not the first time,
right? And
it has happened several times in the continent. And the South Africans must also be aware that their citizens are living in other African countries, and they should know that these kind of things does not help the development of Africa. We have gone past the age where we should be told what to do right to each other. So I believe that the dialogue table, an alternative dispute resolution table at the UN level, will be able to address this issue once and for all. Maybe in the past, we've not taken cognizance of it in a very serious manner, but this time, I'm sure that governments of other states will take this matter critically and solve them once and for all so that we can live in harmony.
You said you are sure, but then how sure are you? Because like you mentioned, this has been recurring for a very long time. And well, the approach this time seems to be different. But how sure can we be that after the dialogue and everything, these, they are not going to come back again and strike an action? Because it seems that this has been a part of them. After a year or two, they come back with same actions. Would things really change after this dialogue?
The reason why I'm very sure, the dynamics of the approach that is made is quite different. Now, two, an alternative dispute resolution case is one of the company that will let us live in harmony with the law. Then the third one is that perpetrators of this crime, states in Africa are calling for clear measure of punishment for those who are involved in this crime in one way or the other. If this is done by the law, by the international law, then it simply means that we are going to have a fair discipline across the continent, and people, that will set us an example for people not to humiliate citizens of other countries, and we live in harmony.
Before we take leave of you, you were talking about the international law being able to do justice. What more do you think will happen after this dialogue?
What more will happen after this dialogue is, one, I want to see undestructive elements of businesses and investor confidence grow in Africa. Two, it has already been spelled out in the UN Charter that we should not take the right of others, abuse the right of others. If we don't abuse the right of others, what will simply means that we are going to live in harmony, and we are going to trade among ourselves. We are going to school from one country to the other. We are going to learn more in how to live socio-economically with each other. And that will mean that we have a prudent Africa leading the world again, once again.
Okay, we really appreciate your time this afternoon. That was Dr. Julius Carter, who is an international relations expert. Now, away from that, the Eastern South Regional Police Command says calm has been restored at the new station area in Akim-Odan following a violent clash involving young men wielding cutlasses in broad daylight. According to the police, the incident, which was captured in a viral video, left 3 persons with severe injuries. One victim reportedly suffered a deep cut to the forehead and had a finger chopped off, while another sustained deep wounds to the hand and is currently receiving treatment. Police say one suspect has been arrested, while efforts are underway to apprehend other individuals involved in the attack. Authorities have assured the public that investigations are ongoing as they work to maintain peace and security in the area. Okay, let's turn to our screens now as police restore calm at Akim-Odan News Station after violent clash. Now, the Eastern South Regional Police Command has restored calm to Akim-Odan after a group of young men engaged in an open fight with cutlasses at the new station area. A group of young men were seen in a viral video wielding cutlasses attacking each other. On receipt of the information, police went to the scene to restore calm. However, 2 suspects were met at the Odan Jubilee Hospital and the Akim-Odan Government Hospital, respectively. Suspect George Otri, aged 30, with a deep cut on his forehead and his right finger chopped off, was met at the emergency ward of the Odan Jubilee Hospital, while suspect Paul Pascalele was met at the Akim-Odan Government Hospital emergency ward with a deep cut on the right hand, receiving treatment. Meanwhile, suspect Evans Adeyele was arrested in his hideout to assist in investigation. Efforts are underway to arrest other suspects for further investigations and prosecution. Away from that, let's turn attention to other matters. As the West African Examination Council says, the decision for candidates to write 2 papers a day is not solely determined by WAEC, but involves consultations with the Ghana Education Service, the Ministry of Education, and the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment. Now, the council explained that extending examinations over a longer period could increase operational costs due to allowances and logistics for examination officials.
Well, we haven't received any formal complaint about this particular issue of writing 2 papers a day.
Okay.
We have heard it. Some of your colleagues in the media have asked me questions about that. You know, again, why does not determine these things? It is the Ghana Education Service and NACA who determine that, the candidates would be able to write 2 papers a day. So you realize that even for the timetable, it goes back and forth from us to the ministry to the GES, and finally an agreement is arrived at that this is how it should go. So it is not a unilateral decision by the council to, as it were, compel the candidates to write 2 papers per day. If it happens that the GES says we want to conduct the examination over a 2-week period, and so henceforth they should write only 1 paper a day, we would be able to do that. The only thing would be the cost element, because then you are keeping officers for a longer time outside. You need to pay them all the allowances due them. That is the only thing that may be an inhibition, if you want, in doing this kind of thing.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Still on education, this afternoon, Executive Secretary of EduWatch, Kofi Asare, has argued that the current basic education certificate examination format places undue pressure on students because of the number of subjects they are required to write within a limited period. Here is his Facebook post. Let's turn to our screens. As piling 10 subjects over a 5-day high-stakes BEC just for schools placement is torture on learners, reduced to 4 subjects: math, English, science, and general paper. Others even use aptitude tests plus continued assessment. This is 2026, not 1996. Meanwhile, some parents and students have been reacting to the BEC format.
We no almost our class and you know nebem. Yes, I had drink kakra because Nkolani Bebre and dress na me interview Bebre says I want to we dear and koyi. And first no textbooks no mu use no. Ebua ba sese no mo asesa nyama Bebre. Nyama no mo asesa no so I had drink kakra.
It's more used to 1 week now, and I say 2 weeks.
Textbooks no. You were English textbook. Ebia you were we. But in the idea na exams na nkasa no mutro no. Ebi wo ho questions na wo textbooks na man kwala na sua na ebi wo wa emam. So ultimate so me point as me e ho na me problem. Cause anka textbooks na o mu use no. Anka omo ba betro BEC ni say no essential questions ni bi wo mu no ye certificate mu nti akwala no wa sua na wo na adwim ba to me the paper ba obi wo ho on tro hwe wo so oberry pens yes stop work na abejeje.
It's 1 week or 2 weeks to
2 weeks in 1 week in a year me side ni the year mami enye stressful.
1 week the year 2 weeks ya na 1 month the enye normal e say enye wasi na omo chiro omu na omo cho subject baako nti omo menye 1 week na ye na eno ana afemu abesisi semle na ehia ne sa akola na obesua de subject ni bi wo okura nkola na ye nchiro omo na so omo de bem na omo de bem na ye nchiro omo be de ehu se we na metro na we na metro obeso obi ti ono ore ne pen ya no ohun ni on nchiro nti omo nchiro omo ne ye bebem no eno na omo nchiro omo ade foforo ena masem baako ekoma school empanimfo omom de school na no omo ye book no say akola no wo JHS 1 ya textbook to say be a mass no omunya fiti JHS 1 akosi JHS 3 me nya say be a wakọ JHS 1 wato textbook fancy book fufuro o kwa o de ato baabi na ya bola wasa akoto JHS 2 eno so mass book fufuro eno na emwa ye awofo no nti omuma yan so ye ho han yen ne yan so yan hwan kwala ne yie no mu nsua de na nhya aban na nimonyam me so madwen ano no.
Away from that, let's now turn our attention to other matters. As scores of residents in Domiabra in the Gan South municipality have been rendered homeless following a demolition exercise allegedly ordered by a businessman known as Frederick Kofi Asare, who claims ownership of the land. According to the businessman, a judgment from both the High Court and the Supreme Court had been secured for the exercise.
Affected residents say they were not given prior notice before the exercise began. Structures including a filling station, a community clinic, and several homes have been pulled down. Some victims, speaking to Metro News, expressed frustration over the situation and called on government to intervene.
And put law in order. Omuma embraces so. Obi nya notice. Otene them into emergency. Obi and then the bad one say obi ni mbatwa. No, we should just be fair. We are citizens. Me Togoni, me Nigerian, make a media for no, you know me.
And yet, the not make our media with, but you have 2 animals. Want to say will be ideas after. Sadia Mata, Yan and I, Omuya Ghana has Yan Ghana Makakra. Sadia be Udia. How you would say, if I visit them when you are Adian Udia. Mimina, Mama Betun. Yes, he said in 1972. Now,
meanwhile, a member of the FK company, Dr. Henry Addo, maintains that the demolition is backed by a court judgment.
Identified him as one of the grantees, and then the grantors also joined. But what my records are telling me now, I've seen copies of judgments, and it gives me the opportunity. We've been here already on the first instance to the police. I believe that all this exercise goes through the legal department of the Ghana Police Service. Competent lawyers within the police administration would have to probe through to ensure that whatever judgment is being given is gone through due process.
Let's do more social stories this afternoon. As a municipal chief executive for the Akachi South in the Volta region, Daniel Dagba, has called for enhanced external security support, including the deployment of military personnel and other security agencies to the municipality to help curb the recurring cases of armed robbery and theft. These activities, he noted, are threatening the economic stability of the area.
Akachi South municipality is a key business and transit hub connecting Ghana to neighboring countries such as Togo and Benin. The area has seen a decline in commercial activities as traders grow increasingly concerned about their safety. The MCE described the security challenge as a major concern and a threat to development, hence the call for increased external security presence, including military deployment.
I say that crime in Akachi is becoming something that we think that external forces must help us to deal with it. So that, because Akachi is a commercial town, Akachi has the biggest market in the whole Volta region. And traders across Africa normally patronize people from Cote d'Ivoire, Benin, Nigeria, Togo, Burkina Faso. They all come to this market. And you know, our area is noted for the famous velvet tamarind or blackberry, which we normally call it.
The MCE also warned that the continued attacks on business owners and traders in the municipality could undermine its growth and reduce the assembly's revenue generation if urgent action is not taken.
You know, Akachi, the transit points are too many. From Akanu, you pass through Akachi before getting to the capital city. From Aplawu, you still pass through Akachi. So Akachi is a very strategic area. And security presence in town will help all of us, even those who are traveling either to Nigeria, Togo, Benin, either to Accra, beyond Kumasi, to Ivory Coast and Co. Many people, because in the evening you see a lot of long vehicles parked.
Residents and business owners are now calling for swift intervention, stressing that restoring security is critical to sustaining business growth and development in Akacha South.
Away from that, let's do some business now, as the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, has called for closer collaboration between institutions, better quality data, and stronger identity systems as Africa's fintech sector moves into its next stage of growth. He was speaking at the 3 Eyes Summit in Accra.
The 3 Eyes Summit, held under the theme Innovation, Investment, and Impact, is aimed at strengthening partnerships to accelerate digital finance and economic growth across the continent. Speaking at the launch, the Vice President stressed the need for Africa to build an integrated digital economy that enables seamless cross-border transactions.
Economic sovereignty now also depends on integration, particularly digital integration, because this is where value is created, exchanged, and controlled. From traders to smallholder farmers to software engineers, participation increasingly depends on the ability to transact, be identified, and operate across borders. Africa has already demonstrated her capacity to leapfrog legacy systems. Mobile money, digital identity, and financial technology have shown what is possible.
The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, noted that the focus must now shift from access to impact, ensuring digital systems deliver real value.
Our goal must be to ensure that these pillars are not only articulated but effectively aligned through strong partnerships and sustained investment. This summit is therefore more than a gathering of regulators, innovators, and investors. It is a signal of where Africa must now go. Digital finance is no longer at the margins of financial sector development. It is central on how value is created, how trust is built.
Participants also highlighted that digital finance is now central to economic development.
So in terms of the inclusion agenda using fintechs, we do have the statistics, we do have the numbers to show that this is an area which is really on a tangent of impact and ensuring that we don't leave anyone behind.
Our core mandate is, among others, to ensure financial stability. But now, during the course of these innovations, we need to strike a balance between financial innovation and the consumer protection.
Discussions at the summit are expected to shape policies and partnerships that will deepen financial inclusion, improve payment systems, and strengthen Africa's position in the global digital economy.
This will wrap up on the news updates here on Good Afternoon Ghana. Thank you very much for making time. My name is Helena Nyeweja, and this is where I take leave of you. Over to you, Desmond.
Right, Helen, thank you very much for bringing us the news updates. You're still watching Good Afternoon Ghana here on Metro TV. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're getting into the conversation. Ghana's rent crisis, finding a sustainable solution to that. And we're going to have 3 guests joining me, and of course, one also via Zoom. So we tackle this issue today. We know what is happening. As I mentioned earlier, the Rent Control Commissioner has been moving around to hostels, looking at some of the facilities who are charging exorbitant prices and all of that for the rooms. We'll talk about that. So stay with us here on the show. I am Desmond Okreko. We'll be back shortly to get into the conversation. Charlie.
The ideal property shouldn't be a daunting task. At MNC Properties, we believe everyone deserves a place to call home. That's why we specialize in providing affordable housing options under our flagship project, Fresh Property Joy, specifically designed for low and medium income earners. Our range of customizable homes includes 2 and 3 bedroom standard and executive options, all meticulously crafted using innovative interlocking brick technology. We understand the importance of simplicity and convenience in the acquisition process. That's why we have designed our procedures to be straightforward and hassle-free, offering flexible payment options tailored to your individual needs. In addition to our affordable homes, we proudly offer litigation-free lands for sale in vibrant and upscale communities that present the perfect opportunity to build your dream home. We are committed to making affordable housing a reality, providing you with the joy of owning a home that meets your budgets and aspirations. Whether you're looking to buy, rent, or invest, we've got you covered. Our service team is ready to assist you on 030-255-1917. M&C Properties.
Looking for comfort, convenience, and class all in one place? Welcome to Stay Easy Apartments on Conference Center, where modern living meets exceptional service. Whether you're staying for business or leisure, Stay Easy offers you a home away from home. Spacious and well-furnished apartments, pool, gym, and everything you need to relax and feel at ease. Planning a meeting, workshop, or special event? Our event grounds and state-of-the-art conference center is designed to host your events and bring your vision to life. From corporate gatherings to private functions, we provide the perfect space, supported by modern equipment and a professional team ready to assist you. At Stay Easy, your comfort and success are our priority. Book your stay or reserve your space today. Call us at 020-739-1473 or 0244-226367. Stay Easy Apartments and Conference Center. Stay easy with us.
Grab your bottle and unleash the taste of Storm Energy Drink. A bold flavor, a big attitude. Feel the vibe, own the moment. It's your time to be different. Storm Energy Drink, make your mark.
Excessive drinking can be detrimental to health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advert is FDA approved.
Launching BSc Development Economics at the Ghana Christian University College. Study a job-ready university program, BSc Development Economics at the Ghana Christian University College. Job is ready for graduates who possess degrees and certificates in BSc Development Economics, professional certificate in Theoeconomy, certificate in Theoeconomy with business. Enroll at the Department of Theology and Economics at the Ghana Christian University College, Amrahia, Adenta Dodua Road, Accra. Full bursary is available for BSc Development Economics graduates to study master's program at the State University in South Africa. Enroll now. Take advantage of this opportunity to join elite professionals in economics. Call 0557-351-090 or 0575-633-307 or 030-296-0542. WhatsApp us on 0557-351-090 or you can get in touch online on www.theoeconomy.edu.gh. Powered by the Center for Theology and Economics, CTEC.
The most wanted, most desired, and the most anticipated event is here. Over 20 African embassies, over 20 different African dishes, one host. The whole Africa converging at Metro TV for Cook Africa as part of activities marking the celebration of AU Day. On the theme, Healthy Bite, Brighter Africa, Cooking for Wellness. Come taste best African cuisines on Saturday, 23rd May 2026, 9 a.m. prompt at Metro TV premises, Northridge. This event is a Metro TV initiative supported by Metro Digital, Original TV and Original FM. For sponsorship and partnerships, call 054-028-1537. Cook Africa 2026, Healthy Bite, Brighter Africa, Cooking for Wellness.
Hello, Cook Africa. My name is Mohamed Lamin Diallo. I come from Guinea. I am one of the Guinean community leaders and the president of GMD in Ghana. And today I am inviting all of you to come to Metro TV to see what Guineans are going to cook. We have what we call mango stew. Mango stew is only found in Guinea. And come and see how we're going to do it. We have our cooker, Mama Yu, the best cook in Africa. He's going to represent Guinea community that day. And it's going to be on the 23rd May at Metro TV premises around 9 a.m. You are warmly invited to come to Metro TV that day to support us and support the event. La Guinée yama no invité fene, Kotobabi, Nima, Kaswa, Mamubi, Obri Ngamini, Kumasi, Green Nafa, Wafa la Guinée culture masin Afrique be Oma masin Afrique be on fatana na badi la Guinée monde sauce ana la Guinée kansane mara hule ni la fala na fani na to la Guinée nantu donc nous bien invité de la Guinée communauté green Garakui Ora mini Oma masin on fatana na sinin fitni wassalam.
Across Ghana's cities and communities, one issue affects all of us: water, sanitation, and environmental health. As urban population grows faster than sanitation services, poor waste management continues to threaten public health and our goal of universal sanitation by 2030. Ghana has policies, infrastructure, and partnerships, but one thing that is missing is a strong central voice. And that voice is The Clean Report, a one-hour weekly TV program produced by Ignite Media, bringing experts, field insights, and policy conversations together to drive behavior change.
The Clean Report, championing cleanliness, inspiring action, building a healthier Ghana. Showing every Friday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. only on Metro TV.
Today's
week, yes.
Okay.
Come.
Okay.
Come and let's talk.
Okay.
Are you okay?
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that you don't have any right to increase already.
For now. So
not for now. You have been making that mistake and increasing.
Okay. So now we are learning.
It's true, you are learning.
Yes.
I'm here to educate you.
You are right.
So you don't have any right whatsoever without talking to rent control.
Very well.
You must take your rent card.
Okay.
That every student here must be given a rent card.
Okay.
For 3,600 and 4,900. Wait. 3,600 plus in 4 in 1 room. Then 2 in 1 room is 4,900. I'm coming. At Prestige Hostel. It's big money. But I would want to understand how you got there.
Okay.
Now, I want to let you know you don't have any right whatsoever to even sit and increase your rent. It may be even behind than what you are even charging. Based on what? But the point is, if you want to make an increment, the percentage that you added, how did you arrive at that?
Okay. Okay.
I'm told that here, students pay their own electricity.
Yes, please.
So now, taking the electricity, you are taking a whooping 3,600 4 in 1 room. And you are taking a whooping of 4,900, right? 2 in a room. Which means almost about 10,000 or 9,000 and 9,800 or so for 2 in a room for a semester. So for 1 year, you are taking 20,000 cedis almost for that. No electricity added. So you don't have any right to do that. But because you are saying that you are now about to implement a new increment, and I've told you, tell management to suspend.
Okay.
So that if I come next time and I'm aware that you have made the increments, the consequences will be dire.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You can see these quotations is outrageously priced. On this particular one, on the land of Legon, managed by Senate, I will crave the indulgence of the Minister responsible for education that this kind of exploitation must not continue. And Minister Helen Adusu should step out immediately without delays. And you see, the students are complaining. NUCS represent the student body of this country. And we must not pretend we have not heard. We are not pretend we are not aware. Today, I moved myself with the event control department and the media houses. And this is what I have in my hands. And I really want to be captured so that I will not be misquoted. And what is alarming is that what they have pasted on their notice board is different from what I'm holding now. And this is serious. So let us take note of it.
Are we inviting them
to talk about any elite here because of people who think that they are big people in society? What a rich man cannot do, what a poor man cannot do, those people target themselves, power of the state can also do. Under my watch as a commissioner of rents, nobody is bigger than the laws of the Republic of Ghana. And as I continue to update the president of the Republic, who believe the law must work, trust me, I wouldn't want to. I don't know anybody or who built the hostels, but I know they have managers. So we have invited them. I know they are private hostels, but when we get there, we'll cross it. But I know nobody is above the law. So if you sit home and say you are a big man and that you have been building hostels and are exploiting and stealing, I see this exploitation and as exploitation and stealing and theft. Indirectly stealing from the poor cannot be countenanced with. I believe that they will change and refrain for the better. That I believe.
Right, so that was the Acting Commissioner of the Rent Control Department, Frederick Opoku, and he has begun an exercise here in Accra, and that was at the University of Professional Studies, Accra, where he was checking the operational practices of some hostels, and very important one was the high fees charged by some hostel operators. In fact, we understand that they're charging as much as 4,500 to about 10,000 Ghana cedis per semester for some shared rooms where many students feel pressured at the start of the academic year, of course, and that tends on to get to their parents and their guardians because they've got to find money to pay that. So that's for one semester. Each year has 3 semesters, right? So just imagine that. Others also do charge for the year and all of that. So that is what is happening. That's a conversation that we're having on the show today. And joining me in studio, I have a students leader and activist, Selma Yoda. Haruna Osmano is chief clerk at the University of Ghana Parliament. He would also be joining us. And also Raindorf Efrifo-Ware is Director of Communications and Corporate Affairs for the National Tenants Union of Ghana. And of course, that video you saw there, credits to 1957 News for that. But this is the situation at hand, and we're trying to find a sustainable solution to this because it comes up always and then it goes away and then we get to talk about it again. But it looks like Mr. Frederick Opoku is not backing down on this. He's been moving up and down. He's been talking a lot on some of the things that he is doing to remedy the situation. And so later we'll open the phone line so you can join us and share your thoughts with us. How much you're paying for rent. Of course, I know some of your landlords and landladies will be watching, so you'll be scared to do that. But we just want to gauge how the situation is like wherever that you are, and if you went through school also, how much you paid for hostel fees and all of that. So let's get into the conversation. Selma Yoda is here, and also Haruna Osman. Welcome to the program. Selma, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and Haruna, you're also welcome to Good Afternoon Ghana here on Metro TV. So first off, let me begin with you, Selma. You're a student leader and an activist, of course, about this particular situation. We've all been to university, and then you'd have to find a place to put your head. Right at the first year, when you're housed in the halls, you need to step out. And that is where the problem starts from. in your conversations with people and even your experience also, that what are some of the things that you found out with this rent issues and hostel, fees, of course?
Thank you very much. Once again, my name is Selma Ida, a former student of KNUST, GEMPA, and I'm currently with CAF University. With this issue, I can cite practical examples. So when I was in KNUST, back in KNUST, as you mentioned, you'll be in the traditional hall for just a year. The following years, it's out. So Brunei, I was in Brunei. I won't hide it. I was in Brunei complex. And their prices, honestly, I feel like how they increase it, how they even come about the increment, they just bring a notice that the following year you're supposed to pay this amount. And to me, it's not right. We could do something about it. They can be fair. We understand that accommodation, the hostel managers, the facility managers, there are certain things that they need to do. But they need to be fair. They need to be transparent. If you are increasing it by, let's say, 10%, why are you increasing it by 10%? If you tell me that you are increasing it by 10% because of electricity bill, because of this, because of that, let's be realistic. Let's be honest. Our parents are also doing the same in our various homes. So if you tell us that, we start to question it that, okay, what's the difference between what our parents are doing in the house and what you are doing? Realistically, they will tell you, oh, renovation, this, that. You go and come back and the rooms are still the same.
Still the same.
Yes. Because my room back on campus, I completed 2023. Back on campus, we were painting the rooms ourselves. We paid for 1 year. When we got to the room, the former tenant had messed up the room. Yes. So we had to do the painting. It's not the school or it's not the facility managers or the hostel managers that are going to paint. We are supposed to do all these by ourselves. So if we are doing all these by ourselves and you still increase it, you tell us you are increasing it because you are renovating the place. We face water challenges. There are a lot of issues that we face, yet still they increase
the prices keep going up.
Yes.
And for the facility you mentioned, a lot of times we've seen the statements.
Yes,
on
it's
social media.
on social media. I have 2023, 2024 academic year. 2-in-1 at Brunei was 7,300. 2024-2025 academic year, it went to 8,470. Same room. No difference. Same room. And mind you, this same 2-in-a-room, I was in 2023, and it was around 4,000 there. Now, 2026, you are paying 8,470. You will go and they've not painted the room. Water issues still stand. We don't even have, what's it called, elevator. We move all the way to the 6th floor. It's not like they added elevator in the facility.
So it's just stairs all through.
It's just stairs all through. So looking at all these things, there are lots of issues that, like, when it comes to this renting issue, it's something that, to me, I take it personal. Because even back in school, I remember, because I was a student leader, people will approach you, telling you about their issues, your problems, and all that. I remember there was a particular lady who approached me. I mean, I may have seen just one or two, but I know my former student leaders or current student leaders in school have faced the same challenges. This lady came to me. She has been able to pay her school fees by God's grace, but now accommodation is a problem. She was sleeping in a church which was even far from campus. Now, issue of security. So she would move to campus, come and study, be on campus till we don't know when. Because if she goes back, coming back is another issue. So she would have to stay on campus till like 10 p.m.-ish. And moving back to that place, now security issue. Security is another issue. Going back there, you don't know what will happen. KNUST, the Mango Road. So the road from campus leading to the hostels like Georgia, Sun City or something like those area.
Just outside campus.
Just outside the campus. Those areas, for instance, moving on that stretch is dangerous. I had my cousin. He was also there. I think now he's doing his national service. He also had similar issue where when he was done with lectures, going back, and he was robbed there. He was stabbed there. Now, if we don't look at the pricing issues, because if we are able to do something about it, I saw the acting director for rent control.
Yeah, the commissioner.
Commissioner, sorry. He was there. He did some. He was asking the facility manager.
Yeah.
Yes, he asked them like, how
do you come by the pricing?
The pricing.
And thank you very much for the foundation you've laid and share with us. This is even brother, which is in quotes. When you go to KNUST, who says that'll be one.
You see, the thing is, the reason why some would prefer to, not some, everybody would prefer to be on campus because of proximity.
Right.
Moving to lectures and all that, we would like to be there.
Okay.
But then this is an issue where the prices of the ones on campus are even expensive.
Right.
And also, it's even limited. So we'd have to go outside.
Let me bring in Osman. Osman, of course, as a students leader also on campus, I'm sure you get to hear a lot of these things from the students. Because the first thing you do is to pay your school fees.
Very true.
And then you have to think about where you'd lay your head. And it's worse if you have to look for more money. How much is the school fees? The hostel fee is even more expensive than the school fees. Haruna, what's the situation like on UJ campus?
It's thank you so much for this opportunity. Once again, I'm Haruna Osman, the Chief Clerk of University of Ghana Parliament House, and also a student leader as well. About this issue, it's very, very appalling. Because let me take myself, for instance. I'm in my second year, and I live on campus and also a private hostel, which is Ivandi, right?
Right.
So my first year, level 100, I took 4 in a room. And each person has to pay 6,400.
For 4 in a room?
Yes.
6,400?
Yes. For only 1 academic year. So you have to, for the first semester, you have to pay 60%. Then before we come back for second semester, you have to pay it before we come back. Else you'll be withdrawn from your room. That's how they do it. And when I got to my second year, which is currently now, I took 3 in a room, which is 9,000. Each person is paying 9,000.
9,000.
Yes, please.
For 3 in a room.
Yes, please.
What comes with it?
I don't even know. When they always tell you, as my sister Selma said, they always tell you that they want to do renovation and whatsoever, but you come back and you find out that nothing has been done. They only paint, the surface of the hostel. And when you go inside, sometimes you go and your sink is not working. Water problems and all that. I can say what she faced way back in university is the same thing we are facing now on our campuses.
Is it like a fully furnished room?
No, it's not like the bed is a king size or queen size or whatsoever.
The usual students.
It's the usual students. Mattress. 2 people can't even sleep on that bed. For you to even say you can. Sometimes we try to bring our money together. Then we go for, even 4 in a room for us to sleep on 1 bed. But it can't be possible because the bed is very small. It can't contain 2 people on 1 bed.
So I'm guessing that there would be, the charges have been increased over a period.
Yes, I think 1,000. Each and every academic year, they will add 1,000 cedis.
Every academic year?
Yes.
Sometimes it's even more than
It's even more than 1,000 cedis.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and I don't even know why. Because they don't do renovation. We don't see any changes.
So the managers of the facility just tell you they have to increase it.
Exactly.
Or
And
they
you
do
have
not
no
dialogue
say.
with you, or just so you come back and you're told that these are the new prices.
So if you can't afford, you just have to leave, because the hostels on campus are not that enough to, contain all students. So when you can't afford, just leave for someone to come for it. And even sometimes, if it's 7,000 and you don't even have that 7,000 to pay, and someone brings in 8,000, they'll just take the 8,000 and allow
And
the
kick you
person
out.
to. Oh yes.
So this is even on campus. How much more the hostel facilities outside campus
Outside.
that nobody's really looking at them. I mean, they can do whatever they want. And as a student that you go to school to learn, and then you've got to have you take up this burden also. I mean,
It's a whole lot.
thinking
Even
about
the
where.
academics is not easy. Then monetary issues.
But has there been anything to challenge them, like our university authorities? Has there been complaints with them? SRC presidents over the years who have come?
They've done that, honestly speaking. Our SRC executives have done that, but still there is no solution or any good results.
Okay, Summer,
Yes.
you want to come in?
Yeah, I think KNUST now there's an app. There's an app that they use to check the hostels off campus to regulate the pricing.
Okay.
I still think we can do more. Other schools can take that app. The government, we can plead with the government to also come in. If there's anything they can do, in building hostels,
I've heard the Nooks president. He was on the Homeowner Show here on Metro TV on Saturday, and he talked about some of these things. And what we can only look forward to is the way forward for this, because it's been something that we've talked about over the years, but it keeps happening. And like the acting commissioner said, there's no explanation as to why there's an increase.
They can't.
You just come back and they say, oh, this is what it is. And if, as Haruna mentions, if you cannot, then that's it. So you have students doing, what's this thing they call? We say in school, when someone comes to stay with you. Patching.
Oh, yes. It happens. Because if I'm not able to pay and I can't also go somewhere far because of security issues and all those things, I would have to patch with a friend. And it's happening. But when they patch and there are issues,
it becomes another thing altogether.
It becomes another thing.
When you allow someone to even patch you, it's also a problem.
Yes, the hostel management will tell you can't allow someone to pitch.
Yes.
But this is a situation where the person can't pay. So I would also have to allow my friend to pitch. If maybe they are around to inspect the place, check, then you would have to step out and...
For them to do whatever they want.
We're working the lines to connect with the acting commissioner to speak with us on what he's done so far, what the things that he has found out since he began on this exercise, and we will definitely see how that goes. And then outside school, we now get to the real life, and then you have to go and rent. So someone going to come. You are done with school. Do you still live with your parents, or so you have to find a room?
Yeah.
Tell me that experience.
That experience was crazy. I won't lie. Because I remember right after school, 2023, I had to come and do my national service in Accra here. And the renting was one of the biggest challenge, because you'll be moving around. People won't even consider the fact that, national service personnel, they are now coming to start life. So they don't really care about that. All they need is their money. So you move around. I think I was with a friend of mine. We moved around a lot, roaming to get a price that would be like good for us, But we were able to get something. Fast forward, now I'm still alone renting, and to me, it's high, because where I'm living right now, we pay our own water bill, own light bill. Since we got there, I've not really seen any renovation,
anything like that happening.
We pay for our own cleaning, the compound. We'd have to pay for the cleaning to be done. And I think when we even moved in, my sister is here. When we moved in, our door had issues, plumbing work, a whole lot.
A whole lot.
And you would have to do it by yourself. But the landladies, the agent, especially the agent.
I'll come to that. And this time I'm going to join the conversation because I'm going to share my experience. Finding rent in Accra, finding a place to stay in Accra. It's one of the most difficult things ever. Ever. Here in the capital.
Go to TikTok. People would just
a lot of, the first thing starts with trying to even get to the home. So, of course, everybody has to find something small to do. And so people have come up as agents.
Yeah.
And then they go around looking for the room for you. And then some of them connive with the landlords and landladies and charge exorbitant prices.
Yeah.
And then they know that you will not get the money at that moment, but they're going to take you there. Because before you move with an agent, you tell the agent how much you have.
Yes.
And then you say, okay, I have 1,000 cedis for, let's say, a 1-bedroom or timber and hall. Yeah. He knows about it. He's going to take you to a place where, a hamper in you, but he'll take what they call moving fee.
Yes.
100 cedis or 150 cedis or even 200 Ghana cedis.
Yes,
moving fee, and they can move you to about 10 homes, and they know that that is not what you asked for. But so far as they take you to one place, they will charge 100 cedis, they will get their money.
Yes.
They're going to do that. I was moving from Ashaiman to Accra. And then, so moving fee and viewing fee.
Yes, the viewing
So
fee.
they want to move. And then they want to go and see the place.
Yes.
So I was moving from Ashaiman to Accra. This story 3 years ago. I was on set, but I was messed up in my head because an agent scammed me about 10,000 cedis.
Wow.
Yeah. Every day I pass by the house that I was supposed to be in, I look at the house and I'm like, hey, the paper, 10,000 cedis. They just took it away. And I went back to the house and said, oh, they didn't know. And some have come up that the landlords and agents work together and all of that. Yes. The worst about it is 2 years advance.
And the agent fee, that's 10% of what?
And after you get the room, you have to pay 10%
of what you are paying.
Yes,
the total
you paid,
amount.
yes, to the agent. So let's say you're getting 1,000 cedis a month room for 2 years. So that's going to be, that's 12,000, 24,000 for 2 years, right? You pay 10%, not out of the 24. You're paying 10% separately to the agent.
Wow.
I've paid it 3 times.
And that is another problem altogether. So the bit of we don't take 1 year, we take 2 years. And then the prices are, you go to the room, as you mentioned, and you ask yourself, but you see, it's Accra. As you mentioned, if you don't pay that 1,000, someone who is eager and desperate for a room would give another amount, even more than that. And then you get into the room, and then you're lost. So a lot of issues stem up from rent. In fact, when it gets to that year, the final 3 months, you start thinking a lot. You are messed up because you're thinking about how you're going to be paying rent, which we understand by the laws is supposed to be 6 months. But again, it's one part of the law that doesn't work in this country.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't work. And so we know that many of you are having this issue. So we'll open the phone lines later so that you call in and share your thoughts with us here on the show. We have joining us Reindorf Efrifa Owaris, Director of Communications and Corporate Affairs, National Tenants Union of Ghana. And then, as I mentioned later, we will be speaking with the acting commissioner for the Rent Control Department for some updates on what he's done so far. So we've talked about 2 things: being in school, hostel fees and all of that, and then out of school, rent and the other stuff there. Reindorf, welcome to the program.
Thank you, my brother.
Right. So when I saw the National Tenants Union of Ghana, when did this union start?
Thank you, and good afternoon to you and your. So, National Tenants Union of Ghana is it's an organization that is, it's a union, and arguably, I would say, the largest union in the country. And what we do is basically, we do two major things. One is we influence policies on housing, and we actually help in informing tenants on their rights and their responsibilities. So we are basically an advocacy organization that we are purely into housing and rental, because we realize that housing is a major part of our human existence, that is shelter. And with that, we cannot do without letting it being governed well by the government that has come. Of course, as a country, and we cannot leave the housing market just as a commodity. It must be well regulated, looking at the human face of it and also the human right aspect of it. So housing is just not an accommodation. It's a human right issue. And that is what we stand for as a NATAG. Well, NATAG has existed for almost over 15 years now. Yes, I mean, when you Google us, I mean, we're everywhere. Luckily, media has also been giving us a lot of platforms. So we have worked with successive government, we are recognized by UN, where we are a member of UN Habitat. We are International Tenants Union, that is International Tenants Union, that is the entire world. And also we are on many platforms where we do advocacy and a lot of housing policy proposals.
Right. So I just had to ask that so that people can understand where you're coming from. So I want to read the Rent Act, 1963 Act 220, and that's what regulates landlord-tenant relationship, and that it also includes rent advances, eviction procedures, and all of these things. Right. So these are some of the key things that you should know. So under the rent laws, landlords are generally not supposed to demand excessive rent advance. So for residential properties, there's a maximum of 6 months rent advance. 6 months rent advance. And for commercial property, a maximum of 1 year advance. And of course, we know that for many landlords, they do the 1 year to 2 years advance in practice in Accra and several other places. And it includes the eviction rules, some of these things that happen later when a landlord wants to take you out of the house. And then let's talk about the increases. So landlords are not supposed to be doing the increases as they are without notice. And it is expected that these increases are reasonable. And in fact, there needs to be a notice, a reasonable notice for these increases to come from the landlords to the tenant. And these are the things that we need to know from this law, the Rent Act 1963, Act 220. So you've been doing this, you've been going around. This is what the law says.
Yes, of course.
But on the ground, and what you found, share with us some of the things.
Okay, so thank you once again. When it comes to housing, we have moved from this housing challenge in Ghana to housing crisis.
It's a crisis now.
It's a crisis. Because what we have seen as a union, where we engage with people, the truth is that we should actually, as a country, come to a term that we have to now sit and have a national housing dialogue to solve the housing situation. Currently, just as you said, you mentioned, there's a law. That's the Rent Act, Act 220. But virtually, it is unapplicable law because there's a challenge with the law aspect because, I mean, a law that was enacted in 1963, and it has, to some extent, it has actually outlived its purpose. And it's about time we sit down. Of course, there is an amendment ongoing, which that was actually championed by the National Tenants Union of Ghana. We've done this for a very long time. But then the current situation is actually squeezing people because the law is not functional. The system that has been built, which is the Rent Control Department that is supposed to control and manage the housing situation, is equally almost incapable because it hasn't gotten so much strength based on the challenges we have in the law. And equally, when it comes to resources allocations, because they are having a very real issues when it comes to resources. They virtually don't have enough offices. They don't have human resources. They don't have let me put it this way, vehicles to work, and that is the reality. So even if you have a law and then the vehicle that will make sure the law is well implemented is not there, definitely there's going to be a gap.
Yeah, the department has been called out severally
exactly
to do its work.
Yes.
But again, as you mentioned, when you hear them speak and some of the things that they go through, it's very difficult to understand
but
how
then,
they can work.
But then we can do, if we are as a country, we are able to pay ex gratia almost every 4 years to our government office holders. It means if we want to get money to empower these institutions who, play a very vital role and their impact goes so deep into millions of people, I believe we can do it. Just yesterday, the inspection that, occurred went on in various hostels. I happened to be part of it. And the challenge is that I realized if our state institutions are well catered for, if they are resourced, in fact, they can work. And that is what we have. The gap we have is that they have no resources to function. So virtually, you've created an office, you don't give them what they need to work, and then at the end of the day, you expect them to work, and they equally pretend to work, and then what else? We all suffer. And that is the current challenge. That is the current challenge. We're going around with, when it comes to tenants across the country, arbitrary rent increment. Anybody can just build anywhere, and even now kiosks are being rented the way they want it, with the price hike. So that is a major problem. The other aspect has to do with disregard of law. People are virtually, because they know there's no an institution which will, police them. Yesterday, at least, when we went there, we realized that, yes, if the authority or if the rent control is given the resources and it stands in its authority, I believe there can be a solution and reversal of some of the challenges we are currently having.
You've talked about yesterday's exercise with the Active Rent Control Commissioner. Now, we were speaking about some of the campuses. The hostels, some of the hostels are on the campus managed by part of the school and private entities also.
Yeah.
How do we deal with that? Because we've learned here that almost every year there are increases without notice. There are high prices that are being paid for hostels that have 4 people. In fact, we're told here that 9,000 cedis, you have 3 in a room. 7,000 cedis, 4 people in a room. And it's not like the rooms are even too good to be in there. The issues with plumbing, beds, all of those things, water challenges. How do we go on from here?
Okay, so I personally least expected or underestimated the challenges within the hostel facilities.
Okay.
And until I went there yesterday. In fact, going there yesterday, the picture became very clear. And it's about time we sit up. Because you could realize that even the room spaces is about 8 by 4. And you have about 4 people in that room paying 8,800 each. This is pure exploitation and thievery. It is illegal because overcrowded. It's overcrowded. How can you give a space 8 by 4 feet and then you have 4 people occupying this and they are equally paying their own bills?
You pay your own bills?
Yes.
Like that's not included in the...
No.
Prepaid, so you buy your meter, you buy your...
So when you are 4 in a room, he brings maybe 20 cedis, 20, yes. Or 50. Then you buy your own prepaid.
You know, yes. I thought it was all included. Water and...
No, I think for some of the hostels is included.
They do.
Yes,
but if you're paying as much as 8,000 Ghana cedis, and then you're paying water...
No, for my hostel, we don't pay water bill. It's only the light.
The light.
Prepaid, so we always buy it
so you buy before that. Okay.
Yeah.
But with this, the challenge is that Rent Control Department, per the law, the Act 220 has been defined, its role has been defined, that it's the only entity that is supposed to look into the pricing of some of these facilities. And of course, I believe that if they were upcoming, or if they were updoing, they would have been able to work on all these things. But then it's not, I mean, it's better late than never. And yesterday's aspect, what we did, the exercise made it clear that this is purely exploitation. And the rent control must come in, because what are the price components?
Right. Why are you increasing?
Exactly. I mean, in fact, even the current pricing, fees, what are the components that goes into it? And some will tell you, okay, you are renting for 1 year, and 1 year, each semester is about 8,800, and they will take you for the one very good year, so it means times 2, 8,800 by 2.
Okay.
I'm using the minimum we encountered yesterday.
Okay.
By 2. But then during vacation, you have to pack all your stuff.
Yes.
And then you have to go home with it. And then the same space that you have rented, when the sandwich people comes, they rent it again to them.
Right. I think I know that one. I know that one. So the space that you have paid for,
yes,
that you're staying there and learning, when the school vacates, you pack out everything,
yes,
and that same space is given out to sandwich students.
Yes.
And then when they are done, they pack out, and then you, when school resumes, come back with all your things again.
Yes. So double charging here, which is purely...
No, that's thievery.
Yes, thievery. So, in fact, we believe, and we are calling on the president to resource the rent control department. But they are the only institution that can help us regulate and solve these issues. In fact, I must commend the new rent commissioner. In fact, in the history of Ghana, there has never been any, let me say, any entity head that has, especially within the rent control department, that has taken this exercise to that far. And in fact, he has shown so much commitment in making sure the law works. Because if we have a law and we are unable to implement or even make it function, it means that it's just on paper. And it's, it's something we cannot make use of it.
Yesterday, I saw that on that exercise that was held, the rent commissioner was speaking to one of the, I think it was a woman, she was in black and white, I think. And then she couldn't, she was surprised that something like that was even happening, that there's a rent control department that takes keen interest in stuff like this. She wasn't expecting that. And so generally, there's a lack of the understanding that, or we've all thought that, well, rent control is dead. I mean, really nothing will come out. And landlords will actually threaten you that you can go to the rent control.
It happened to me.
And it happened to you. Nothing will happen. Tell us the story.
So I think we had water issue.
Okay.
And this landlord, when there's any issue in the house and you approach him, for rent control, minimum crowd. That's what he will say. You go to him, anything that's when you say anything to him, he either tell you come for your money or go to rent control. He increased something, you go to him. So a water bill, when the bill comes, we don't see the bill. He just push it under your door. When you go and ask him that, menye juma wo Ghana water, for rent control. Anything that you say, he will tell you for rent, because they know that's when you go to rent control, nothing will happen. But unfortunately, now things are happening, things are working now. The commissioner, the acting commissioner is really doing well, and we must
commend him for that.
Just to add up something, you see, that is where NATAG will come in. That is National Tenant Union of Ghana. We help with regards to your right and your responsibility. You see, one challenge we have had as a country is a lot of people don't know their rights, and so they are always bullied around. And the challenge also has to be that the institution that is supposed to guide and protect you or your interests, which is the rent control department, often, at first, we have had a lot of engagement where some officers of the rent control immediately issues come up, then they come back to, defend the landlord. But then the law recognizes the vulnerability of the tenant. And so every tenant have a right and responsibility. So your right is that when you get a place, what is very important, make sure you get your tenancy agreement. And demand for the rent card, which is now the challenge.
Rent card, what's that?
The rent card. There's a rent card issued by the Rent Control Department. And the purpose of the rent card, yes. In fact, the landlord, before, this is how it's done, per the law. When, as a household, or let me say a landlord, if you have a building to, rent out, you are supposed to go to the rent control and register that apartment.
Okay.
You get it. And when you register it, they will give you a rent card. The rent card becomes a tenancy, or let me say it's a rental document, or it's a record document between you, the landlord, and the tenant. Everything about the tenant and everything about the landlord. So that when there is a dispute, you go back to the rent control and then they fix it. Because in the rent card, it's a record. And so the landlord's record is there, how much you paid is there per every month, the amenities and all those things that are supposed to be in the house. So this becomes a record for your transaction. So when there is an issue and you go with your card, you will have a copy, the landlord will have his copy. When there is an issue and he is unable to fix it, you go to the Rent Control Department, and that is the record and the first contract between you and the landlord. And they are able to solve it.
Okay.
But more often, there are no documentation.
Yeah, there's nothing
They
to
wouldn't
it.
give you any document. You get it. And it's actually criminal, per the law, that someone comes to rent and then you don't give that person documentation. So per the law, within 7 days after you have rented an apartment or rented out, either landlord or tenant, you, the tenant, demand for your tenancy agreement, demand for your rent card, because that becomes your ticket or your contract document that will protect you when there is an issue.
Right. So that is a very important information that you're sharing with us. I'm sure many of us are not aware of that, and sometimes we do take it for granted to ask for tenancy agreement. And so that's it. You just pack your stuff and you're in there. We were talking earlier about before you even get to the house.
Yeah.
From the agent to the landlord, and how the agents would move you around and take you to a home and would charge you moving fee, viewing fee, and all of those things. How do we tackle that also? Because they also say that's their way. They also went around to look for the room for you, so you have to pay them.
Okay, so in fact, the law is very clear when it comes to agency. There is actually a government agency under the Ministry of Housing that takes care of agents solely, where if you want to be an agent, you have to go and register, and you are issued a certificate to be a legal agent.
Okay.
Yes, that is how it is. And even within the Act 220, it equally states the work of agents there, and that agent is not supposed to take anything more than 5%. That is the law. You can't take more than 5%. But as we all know, the entire law has been put aside, and then currently it is it's now a combination of the landlord and the agent formulating their own thing, and then they are doing. So currently, we are having a situation where the agent will take 10% from you and go and take another 10% from the landlord.
So that's, I was going to ask that question, that is he supposed to take his money from what's been paid to the landlord, or you would have to pay him another extra 5%? Or
the contract between you, between the agent in this deal is he and the landlord.
Okay, Randolph, you're going to hold on to that. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we continue with the conversation. We've opened the phone line, so you can also call in and share your thoughts with us. Yeah, this is Good Afternoon, Ghana. We're talking about Ghana's rent crisis, as we put it, What are the solutions for that? Stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Mommy, good morning.
Oh, good morning, my son. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Mom. How about you?
I'm fine.
Joe, I just saw your mom doing her usual morning routine. Like, it was just 2 weeks she underwent a major colon surgery.
Bro, see, my mom is doing perfectly fine, and we're all excited about it. It was minimally invasive surgery, and the recovery has been very fast.
Minimally? Hey! No, wait. What do you mean by that?
So they offered my mom a laparoscopic colon surgery. Laparoscopic colon surgery, which we accepted. It turned out it was equally safe with a very fast recovery time, and the cost involved too was very, very reasonable. She was discharged 3 days after the surgery, and you can see her, she's on her feet again.
3 days?
Just 3 days, bro.
Mean Tuber Hospital, first Ghana colorectal center, aimed to serve a peculiar health need.
Finding the ideal property shouldn't be a daunting task. At MNC Properties, we believe everyone deserves a place to call home. That's why we specialize in providing affordable housing options under our flagship project, Fresh Property Joy, specifically designed for low and medium income earners. Our range of customizable homes includes 2 and 3 bedroom standard and executive options, all meticulously crafted using innovative interlocking brick technology. We understand the importance of simplicity and convenience in the acquisition process. That's why we have designed our procedures to be straightforward and hassle-free, offering flexible payment options tailored to your individual needs. In addition to our affordable homes, we proudly offer litigation-free lands for sale in vibrant and upscale communities that present the perfect opportunity to build your dream home. We are committed to making affordable housing a reality, providing you with the joy of owning a home that meets your budgets and aspirations. Whether you're looking to buy, rent, or invest, we've got you covered. Our service team is ready to assist you on 030-255-1917. MNC Properties.
Hello, my friends. My name is Calkit Toothpaste. Wow. I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Calkits. Happy smile.
Hello everyone, we are the Congolese community in Accra. We are inviting you to enjoy our food. It's very sweet, pondu. We prepare it very nice. We mix it with some spices, very nice. We are inviting you on the 23rd May at the Metro TV. Vous pouvez venir, nous allons préparer notre cuisine congolaise ici. Les pondous, on va mettre les arachides et d'autres ingrédients. C'est tellement bon. Venez le 23 mai 2026.
Good afternoon, Ghana, here on Metro TV. I am Desmond Okrekudan. So we're talking about Ghana's crisis in terms of rent, and we've been sharing some thoughts on that. A few days ago, after an interview on the Home and Health Show, there was a message from the MD of the Ghana Hostels Limited. They manage Pent Hostels at the University of Ghana, and this is what I had seen, that they have not increased their fees by 90%. And that is a conversation that came up on the show. But we know as it is every year, there are some increases from the Pent Hall, and we will get into that conversation also. So yesterday you were at Pent Hall.
Yes, please.
What did you find out?
So when we got there, there was a little big shake-up there. I think the least expected.
Okay.
Yes, because the rent control, as they all know, has been inefficient in their activities. So when they realized that we were there, I mean, the rent control department was there, where the rent commissioner, and then they were asking of their documentations, their operations, their price, and I mean, they were all somersaulting. So they had to resort, and then luckily their CEO was in there. So we had to go, and they had to make an arrangement for us to meet. And in fact, after all the conversations, they were trying, in fact, to be under the shield of the University of Ghana, that they are a state institution, they are partnering. I said, no. The law is so clear that the rent control has the mandate to regulate any rental housing. If you're a hostel, your pricing must go through the rent control. So how much are you charging? And what went into or goes into the charges that you are giving out the student? It was a whole thing. In fact, getting their rates, it's quite some, I mean, it's a whole lot. A whole lot. Their minimum room is charging that 8,800 per student, and they are supposed to be 4 in a room.
8,800.
Yes.
So that's the 4 in a room. 8,800.
That's the minimum. Yes. Some go as far, I mean,
10,000, 12,000.
And this is actually confirm the research we did. We did a comparative analysis, and that is within Africa. And could you believe that Ghanaian students are paying 10 times to 15 times of that which are being paid outside this country in other African jurisdictions? Ghana's hostel pricing is about 10 times to 15 times compared to Kenya, compared to Nigeria, compared to South Africa, compared to Uganda, compared to Tanzania. Yes.
So
and that cannot.
That cannot continue. And again, for hostels like this, that as they mentioned, they're under the university.
Yeah.
What's the engagement like? Are we going to have the universities come in? Because it's disheartening that you have some of the hostels on the campuses run by the university charging these prices.
In fact, when we push further, they now retracted and made it known that it is for the hostel is for SNET. But
right,
then
yeah,
they have an MOU with the university. But then, in fact, that is not, insulated by the law. The law says if you are, because in fact, the pensions money is a private money. And so if they want to invest into any other facility, I mean, there is no, how do I call it? Cover by the state. And so they are supposed to follow the rent rules or the Rent Act at 220, just as the law says. So in fact, after yesterday's exercise, we realized that the problem we had was not a problem. It's a housing crisis, and we need to sit down. So we are told by the rent control have made sure that if God permits, they are going to call a stakeholder engagement so as to engage and then review some of these prices, because, I mean, it is unfair And it is criminal aspect. It is criminal to give students these charges. Yesterday, I had a conversation with someone, and there are a couple of students who are virtually, let me put it this, depressed due to these costs.
You would be depressed because for the Pentagon, one in a room with AC big at the new Pent is 27,769. Small is 22,870. And then you have, 18,000, 16,000, and all of these prices. And it's not just spent. A number of the hostel facilities across universities in the country. And this is something that we would be looking at so that we find a solution to this. Right, so Haruna, let me have your final thoughts on this. I'll come to Selma, and then we wrap it up.
Yeah, so before my final thoughts, I want us to all look at this. So, for instance, if my dad, or let me say my mom, is a farmer, education is important to each and every Ghanaian student.
Right.
Good. So, if my mom is a farmer, or maybe she works at someone's shop or something, and she earns 5,000 cedis a month, and if I'm going to pay school fees with a whooping amount of, at least 4,000, right? If I'm supposed to pay 4,000 and hostel fee, let me take 4 in a room, which is 7,400, right? How much do you expect my mom to give me a month to? And they don't have any flexibility in the payment.
No.
When the time is due, you just have to come and pay, else they'll take you off. So if my mom is earning 5,000 cedis, and even we are 2 siblings, how do you think, she'll get all this money to give it to me for me to come and pay this amount? So I'm pleading with them. They should, try and reduce the prices and also have some flexibility for us in way of paying the hostel fees. And also, I'll be pleading with the government as well to, get more hostels for us on campuses so that it will reduce all this burden. Thank you.
Okay, right. Selma.
All right, thank you very much. As my brother said, education is really important.
Yes.
Nook's slogan says education, a right, not a privilege. If we don't look at these issues, if we don't do anything about these issues, trust me, education will become a privilege, not a right anymore. And I must commend the leadership of the National Ghanaian Student, the National Union of Ghana Students. They are doing so well. The petition was sent and the rent control too has taken over. They are doing something about it. We are hoping that something better would come out of this because honestly, it's something that is worrying because students will go to school, their parents will suffer to get them money for their school fees. Now, accommodation is another issue, they are feeding and all that. So please, my brother here also mentioned that rent control has mentioned that there will be a stakeholder engagement and all that. We are looking forward to that. As student leaders, let's all come together, join hand in hand with the National Union of Ghana Student Leadership to do our best. Let us all put our voices inside. Let us all put our energy inside because if you are able to pay your school fees or your accommodation fee, doesn't mean that someone out there is also paying. Some people are suffering, some people are depressed, some people are crying, going through a whole lot, just not even because of the academic fees, but the accommodation fee. So we are pleading. Government should come in, rent control. We are waiting for the stakeholder engagement. We'll all be there. We'll all bring out our voices and would hope that something better will come out. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you, Selma. And so for you, Randolph, anything that a tenant should know and also on their hostels also?
So what I would say is that housing should support education, but not to stand in its way. Housing should supposed to help the young Ghanaian to be able to realize his dream, but not to rather deprive access to education, which is now the norm, and that is how we are looking at now. So what I would say is that for we at National Tenants Union of Ghana, our interest is to push for policy formulation and propose policies to the government and its agencies. There is a way we can do, something we can do to solve this housing. I believe one thing that to end this whole thing, government can look at it, is there are land banks around most of these campuses. If possible, government should engage. Government should engage.
Right.
And then engage private sector. And then they are supposed to help in getting us a good accommodation for students. And I'm sure the cost of education would not be this current regime we are facing as a people.
Right. Thank you very much for coming in this afternoon. You heard from Randolph Efrifo-Waris, Director of Communications and Corporate Affairs, National Tenants Union of Ghana. Selma Yoda is a student leader and activist. And also you heard from Haruna Osmanu, Chief Clerk of the University of Ghana Parliament, as we talked about the accommodation crisis. And of course, with the issue with Pentor, we would keep on that. We're actually going to go there and get more answers on the increases, because when we talked about it, they said it was fake, it wasn't true. We'll get there and as Randolph went there and what happened there yesterday, we'll definitely get back to Pent to see what is happening at that hall. Many thanks for watching the program. This has been Good Afternoon Ghana here from our studios here at North Region Accra. Today is my father's birthday. Let me do that real quick. Happy birthday to Mr. Isaac Kwekudan. So 63 years. God bless you. And we love you. That's it. Many thanks for watching. For more news, log on to our website, www.metrotvonline.com. We're back at 7 p.m. with news tonight. Do enjoy the rest of our program.